All right. Now, Cory, there's a lot of people shitty with you because of the milk decision yesterday, and I say that because no doubt you've got the same emails and all the rest of it here. Let's roll through this and then get your explanation as to why things went the way they did. Pauline Hanson ripped the Agriculture Minister a new one after the government voted against her plan to put a floor price on milk. Here's what she says about Bridget McKenzie, who I called out yesterday for being a little bit too smart-alecky towards Pauline Hanson in the Parliament, given that for them to get anything through the Parliament, they need, among others, people like Pauline Hanson and our mate Cory here.
Because I pushed for this to be done, pressure was put on her to put it. She actually sent me a letter, Chris, and I have it here from Mackenzie, stating that they would fast-track the delivery of the code and it will be as soon as possible. I am planning for that to happen by December 2019. Now, she's released it that it will be January 2020 before it comes out. Now, listening to her interview this morning on RN, she's basically saying we haven't got it right. She is hopeless, absolutely hopeless.
As for Joel Fitzgibbon, he saw the opportunity to kick the boot in. Remember, Labor voted for this in the Senate yesterday.
She needs to tell the dairy farming community who it was that recommended to her that the all-important mandatory code of conduct in the dairy industry be watered down. Watered down so significantly that dairy farm leaders are now saying that this dairy code would be worse than not having a dairy code at all.
All right, let's push all that to one side. Cory, you voted the way that you did in the Parliament yesterday. What's wrong with a floor price for milk that would go to $1.50 and that extra between the $1 and $50 goes right back to the dairy provider?
I tell you what's wrong with it, Paul. The siren call of socialism is very seductive. And right across the world, whether it be Bernie Sanders or Jeremy Corbyn or Richard Di Natale or Anthony Albanese or Pauline Hanson, they all want to take money from one section of the community to prop up their preferred industry. And it's wrong. It doesn't work. If you think it works, go to Venezuela, have a look how central price fixing works there. In 1999, the dairy industry deregulated. They got 11 cents a litre for 8 years. It was a levy to help them with transition packages. Then they voted to list their cooperatives like Murray Goulburn on the Australian Stock Exchange. They pocketed all the cash. And now they're complaining because suddenly they're subject to commercial environments. They've got to be competitive. And not everyone wants this at all. But if you think that price fixing by government for private industry of any description is good for the dairy industry, why not for the local chicken shop who went out of business because Woolies is selling chickens too cheap? Or your pizza shop because Pizza Hut came up with $5 pizzas? I mean, we could go on and on and on. It doesn't work. But Pauline Hanson is playing the populist card here, mate. That's all it is.
No, I understand. But I just for devil's advocate's sake and to preempt some emails here, because I'm sure you'll get them too, and understandably so. Because I can understand the rage that's there from people about a situation where this is a sector that is being screwed, certainly by those big supermarkets. But isn't something that makes the dairy industry slightly different than the pizza shop or the chicken shop or the hardware store is that literally you don't want the dairy industry to be controlled by somebody other than local farmers. And if they slowly but surely go out of business, then effectively we go cap in hand to overseas-owned dairy farms, don't we?
But once again, we go back to first principles. I think there are about 9 cooperatives still in existence. They decided to de-cooperatise themselves and become corporates in some instances and list on the stock exchange. Who is your first duty to? The shareholders? Of course it is. As a cooperative, it's to the growers. That's how historically it's been. The simple fact is we are in a global environment for milk. I want to drink Australian milk if I want to use it, but no one's talking about having a floor price for yoghurt or for cheese or anything else. And this is like retreating back to the 1970s. It doesn't work. It's as simple as that, mate. It does not work. And the idea that somehow consumers should be forced to pay more because Pauline Hanson wants to throw a hissy fit in the Senate is just a joke.